Hey, everybody. This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous looking friends. You know what time it is. Let's get into part 6 of these blind items. Dated August 16th, 2020. They can pretend they know nothing about thanking the troll account slamming the royal family at the time it happened. They know now, though, and the illiterate royal and her ginger pet have stayed silent. We have known for some time now that the trolls, the Sussex squad, are connected with Meghan and Harry. The most famous one is a troll by the name of Danny Trin. Yeah, I'm not going to post the vile things that she has said, but you can check her out because someone put her on blast on a website called the Fugly Posts, and I'll link that below. But you should check it out to see how demented and how evil these squad members are. So this Sussex squad, they are radicalized, and they are a radicalized extremist group who wants to destroy the establishment of the royal family. And what's really so ludicrous about all of this is that they come down and they attack so many people for telling the truth. The hatred and lies that they spew, they are monetizing it. While they can't stand seeing us tell the truth and get rewarded for it, they are full out maximizing, monetizing off of Meghan Markle. The SussexSquad.com website, as you can see, they have every which way you can donate, whether it be through Patreon, through PayPal, through Cash App, and they're running ads all over this website. And in some way, in some form, Meghan is getting a cut of the profits that are going through this website. You don't think that somebody could set up a website and talk all about her and say all these things about the family and Meghan and Harry be okay with it and not get a cut of it? You know that if they didn't get a cut of it, you know that they would be after them in a lawsuit. Now, bookmark this blind item. For the next time that Harry and Meghan talk about the environment, whip this one out. August 21st, 2020. They could have driven. In the past, the illiterate former actress would have no choice but to drive. Now, though, she tried and failed to get a charity to pay for a private jet, but in the end had to get her husband to pay for the 25-minute flight. Nothing like blowing through several $1,000s each way because you feel too important to drive for 2 hours. My friends, that was the charity that they went during the pandemic to give out school supplies, and this was in LA. So this witch decided to take a private jet to get to LA when she could have driven. And they talk about people cutting down on their carbon footprint. Shut up, Meghan. The illiterate royal wanted to meet up with the foreign-born illiterate actress because the royal knows the actress will now go after anyone who attacks the royal, while at the same time continuing her crusade against waist trainer T and surviving the flu 7 times in 1 year. And they're talking about Jamila Jamil. Now, I have no idea who Jamila Jamil is. In fact, I had to look her up and realize that she is another one of those actresses that don't even register on the alphabet. So just like Meghan Markle, they don't even make the alphabet as a B, C, D, all the way up to Z lister. And all this was a publicity exercise. Both women needed to get clout. Jamila probably thought if she backed Meghan Markle, then she would get some publicity, which she did. And then Meghan Markle would take anybody who would defend her lies and try to use them for whatever clout that she could get. Where are either of these celebrities? Well, Jamila Jamil, I don't know where she's at. You? And Meghan Markle, she's the laughing stock of the world at this moment. Now, this one is accurate, but not so accurate, and you'll know what I mean in a second. Unless someone steps in soon, the sports charity for wounded military is going to disappear. Now that they have their bag, the illiterate one and her ginger play toy have left the charity in their rear window. Well, I agree. Meghan and Harry left these charities and they haven't done dick for them except use them. What did they do? It was all about them. Really didn't highlight or emphasize anything, remotely to the amount of screen time that they propped themselves. And what's even more sickening about all of this is that they took a cut of the money that should have gone to these veterans. So, yeah, they totally did slap them in the face. They used them, they exploited them. Now, we see that next year they're going to have another one of these Invictus games. Okay, how successful is it going to be? I don't think it's going to be as successful as it was this year. And I do believe that it is going to disappear over the course of time because the more and more that Meghan and Harry keep bastardizing these charities and exploiting them for their own selfish gains, people are just going to get turned off and they're not going to want to support because of them. You got to wonder, with all the money that they have, are they just burning through cash? Because I just can't imagine all these demands that they're making. Like in this one, it says, still no takers for the illiterate one and her ginger boy toy to speak at an event. They were already overpriced, but apparently, even for virtual speaking, they wanted the same fee as in person. Oh, and you have to double their fee for in person if there is any form of meet and greet. So here's what I don't understand. All right. So throughout 2020, we saw them do a lot of virtual engagements. You had the Time, the speaking event, you had the Girl Up Summit, you had Megan talking to the school. Part of me thinks that who is stupid enough to invite these two and pay them money? I think a lot of it is show. And I think they're paying for themselves to speak, like the One World Summit. How the hell did Megan get to deliver the keynote address at that? You have to think, did they give money? And I believe that they're buying their way to these platforms. I mean, we know that they bought their award for the NCAA. I really truly feel that the people around her are feeding her a bunch of bullshit and making her think that she is worth, $1 trillion. And that's why she keeps going out and looking like a jackass. They have a bunch of yes people around them that tell them what they want to hear because they want to keep their jobs. And they know that they have to appease and stroke the egos. It's not really helping them. So the next blind item says there is no chance it will ever happen in a million years. But the fact the illiterate former actress thought her name should be in the pool of replacements in case a senator from California needed to be replaced after the election shows the level of out of touch in which she is currently living. And this at the time was about Kamala Harris and her going on to being VP and her seat in California being open. Here are my thoughts on Meghan Markle's political aspirations. I do believe that in 2020, she did have the thought go through her head, if the seat does become open in California, then she would then start to make moves. And it's also an indicator that the senatormarkle.com website was purchased in 2020, as well as I think other domains had been purchased. And we'll go through that a little bit later on the domain website registrations. But I do believe at the time she was thinking about it. But unfortunately, with the constant string of bad events, one after another. It's almost like the universe is against them. I don't think right now a political run would be in the cards for her because there've been so many black eyes that they have received from everything that they have done. Especially now, the queen has passed away. Things have now changed and the landscape has changed. So potentially, if they are thinking about going back into the royal family, this may not be an option for her now, which I hope that's the case. I hope it is diverted. And even though it's such a tragic event of having the queen pass away, I do believe that that has helped change the course of Meghan's aspirations because people are now seeing her for who she is. And the more exposure she gets around all her manipulations and deceptions, it's going to be very hard for her to get that scrubbed and cleaned away to make a political run because she's going to face many people asking her questions about the lies that she has told. And people don't trust her. The only way that she would have a chance is if she cheats. And if there is a possible way for her to cheat and she could do it, there's no doubt in my mind that she would. Continuing on. Still no takers for the illiterate one to come speak and tell you things she knows after being on a low rated cable television show for a few seasons. Still no reduction in price either. She should try Cameo. This is not surprising. We all know that these two have a false view of reality, as well as at the time, this was before the Oprah interview, they still had some sort of stock value because they were tied to the family, even though they did separate. So I don't disagree and truly believe that she still feels that she's worth so much money because she is royal. And again, still grifting off of the backs of the royal name. Now, let's not forget that it's Harry that has always been in demand, and they only want to see her because of Harry, not because of Meghan Markle or anything special that she has going on, which is nothing. The next blind item, dated September 20th, 2020, says, apparently the illiterate one is shooting a documentary, aka reality series, that shows her court fight as her being a victim trying to stand up for everyone, and depending on what happens with the verdict, her friends either as supporters or people in the conspiracy to bring her down. There's no doubt in my mind that there is footage of what was going on back in September 2020. Remember, in August of 2020, Finding Freedom came out. And once that book came out, the Mail on Sunday raised their hand and said, hey, this sounds like Meghan was involved with it. So you had big chatter around Scobie and Meghan collaborating together, where Meghan is publicly denying that she had any involvement with the book. But later we find out that she did have involvement with the book, as well as she contributed a lot to it. I believe that we may see some of this in this reality Kardashian-esque show that she is putting on that Netflix is going to put out, but we'll see. Either way, we know that it's going to be a big failure because the truth has come out. So at this point, whatever they're producing and putting out there to paint this narrative is going to look dumb. Apparently, the illiterate former actress had words with the foreign born one name A-plus list singer, and the words were not kind. Jealous much? It feels like the ginger one is not allowed any female friends, and that would be Meghan Markle having it out with Adele. Now, I don't have any proof of this conversation or interactions ever occurred. However, I would not be surprised if it turned out to be true. Circling back to the political discussion, says here, judging by the creation date of a website, it looks like the illiterate one decided on her election bid back in 2018. May 23rd, 2018 to be exact. And this was the website domain megan2024.com. So if this is true, and Blind Item so far, as we've seen, has a really good track record, then that would mean that Meghan was thinking about this from before she even got married. Because a few days after she got married, she went ahead and reserved all these domains all the way up to 2040. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't think I will be able to hang on dealing with the antics of this woman till 2040. So let's hope that this was done in haste, and at the time she was thinking all bright-eyed. But you know what? If it's not this year that she's going to apply for the Senate or run for president in 2024, she's covered her whole entire life in order to get there, just in case. September 21st, 2020. The illiterate one was being told to settle, but that doesn't make for a good documentary. So she got a new lawyer who is willing to take it to trial. For those who are not aware, Meghan had hired Johnny Depp's lawyer, David Sherborne, in April of 2020. He just so happened to be also Diana, Princess of Wales' former lawyer. Now, this was a marketing spin that Meghan pushed out, that the reason why she fired, allegedly, David Sherborne was in solidarity of Amber Heard. Highly doubt that's the case. I believe that David Sherborne had a client who was a liar. And after the Finding Freedom book came out in August of 2020, the Mail on Sunday wanted to pull Finding Freedom book into the court case to tie it to the fact that Omid Scobie had known about the People article. And what we were seeing was inconsistencies. If you had read the court cases, that she changed her story. First, she said she did not collaborate with the authors and the authors didn't have any sort of access. Then you had Omid Scobie giving a false witness statement and saying that he did not collaborate with the authors, even though he did. And I believe that David Sherborne was like, look, you lied and this is not going to go over well. Your best bet is to settle. And being that Meghan is so stubborn and so hungry for fame that she fired him because, exactly that. She needed content and she thought maybe this was going to be great publicity for her. And if she did end up winning, which she truly believed that she was going to win, then it would make great content. Now, I do believe too, as well, that this is going to make the documentary and they're going to spin this in a way that she fought for truth and she did the right thing. And we're going to see all sorts of ridiculous bad acting when it comes down to touching upon this court case. Because, I don't see how Netflix is going to avoid this, right? So by this time, that book, Finding Freedom, opened up a whole new can of worms. So they were not able to get the five friends' names disclosed because there was a judgment by the judge stating that in order to protect the privacy of the five people in the article that People magazine had published about Thomas Markle, that now this book, it has opened up the possibility to pulling Omid Scobie into the picture to be a witness to prove the case that it really was not a privacy issue and that Meghan willingly gave information to be put out into the media to discredit her father. So the Mail on Sunday had pushed back on to Meghan, saying that you absolutely did have a collaboration going on, and they gave indication of evidence that they knew that she was lying. So what had been going on in the background was Meghan was plotting and scheming again, went to the judge to request this trial be delayed, and didn't give a reason to the public, although most likely it was the fact she was coming up with this story of having a miscarriage, which we later then find out in November of 2020 that she had this so-called miscarriage, which I don't believe she did. I believe that that was one big lie to buy time in order to push for the following year the court to be pushed to a judgment summary because she did not want people coming forward to testify. And as this went on, she later then discovered that Jason Knopf had been talking to the Mail on Sunday. So now they're pushing hard for this case to be closed out. And what we saw was the judge give the 9-month leniency. And we didn't know that she allegedly was pregnant, which I don't believe she was. I believe that all of this was a stem from trying to buy time in order to push to get a judgment summary, which ended up happening in February of 2021, where the ruling came down that they didn't need to go to trial and that that the evidence, or at least the judge thought that the evidence that they had was enough to say that, yes, privacy was invaded. Now, after the Oprah interview in March 2021, I believe that that set off the judge or the court system to make the ruling in favor of Mail on Sunday to appeal that decision. Now, that was the court case that we saw last year in November, where she was outed as a liar, confirmed, and that she perjured herself. It might be a documentary, but it has a reality show feel with all of the set pieces trying to show how amazing and wonderful they are. It is a never ending self serving pat on the back because we are so good movie. Yep, the reality show that is what they're calling a docu-series. We know it's gonna suck. Honestly, I hope Netflix categorizes this reality show as comedy and fiction because we know that it's going to be all lies that they're going to be spewing out. Nothing that they have given to us over the last 5 years has been authentic or even genuine. Despite what the illiterate one says, she does have personal social media accounts, although both are locked and private. Yes, I think she has more than two social media accounts. Now, let's not forget that Harry also has social media accounts that he uses to go online to look at what people are saying about him. These two are social media addicts. The reporter, who is the lapdog of the illiterate one, earned his pat on the head today with the trashing of the head of the family. He did let it slip to a friend, though, that the house is just a rental and not owned. And that's Omid Scobie in regarding to a photo of the Queen and Prince William not wearing masks during the height of the pandemic. Now, this last line where he said that the house is just a rental, not owned, there's been rumors that the Montecito Olive Garden Castle is not actually owned by the couple and that they are living elsewhere. This I kind of believe and can see it. For a couple who wants privacy so bad, they have made their house so public that it would only make you think that it was a decoy and they're living somewhere else. It's what the Kardashians have done. And we know that the wife likes to copy. I'll bet you that this is going to make it into the documentary, aka reality show, that Meghan and Harry are trying to get together. On October 29, 2020, a camera crew was on hand this morning at the home of the illiterate one. My only guess is that she is going to use today's announcement, the trial has been extended for nearly a year, as a win for her documentary to make it look like she won the court case. The judgment that is being talked about is her getting the extension, which was the 9-month extension to push the case out. Originally, it was scheduled to go to trial in January of 2021. Now, with all this lying that this woman had done and was going back and forth, she needed to buy some time. So, what do you think she did? Most likely, she went to the judge and said, "Hey, I had a miscarriage in July and I'm pregnant again because if you do the math, it technically works out at that point. And I don't want to have another miscarriage. So can we please push the trial out because of the stress could cause me to miscarry again?" And I guarantee you that that was the excuse that she had given. And sure enough, what happened? She announced she was pregnant the following year. We know that she wasn't really pregnant. We know that all of this has been a big facade. So no doubt in my mind that they somehow are going to parlay this into this reality series because what else are they going to talk about? I don't even know why they're going to bother to put this reality show out. We already know that whatever that they're putting together is nothing but lies and a facade. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody wants to see them pretend to be kind people because behind the scenes, they really are not. And people are speaking out about their deception. So to put something in front of us, you really think that they're going to all of a sudden change their tune to show the real people that they are? I mean, albeit it would be much more interesting. And I would kind of have a little more respect if they did show their true colors to show who they are. But to go ahead in front of millions of people to portray or continue this false narrative, they're just going to look so stupid and hated even more. And we all know the only reason why they're editing the podcast, they're editing the book, they're editing the Netflix is because they need something from Charles. Otherwise, this would have moved forward and they would have wreaked more damage onto the family. So understand that this is not because they feel bad. It's not because they're reflecting. It's because they want something from King Charles. This last blind item for this video says, dated November 15th, 2020, considering the tens upon tens of millions of dollars he has given his son, which the daughter-in-law has also benefited from, you would think they could muster 2 words for a life event. Apparently not. The illiterate one is taking her husband down into a spiral from which he will have a hard time emerging. And this was Prince Charles' birthday. Yes, they didn't acknowledge him. They didn't say that they spoke to him or wished him a happy birthday. And in fact, when you look back at that time period, you have to stop and look at all the Zoom calls that Harry did. He looked like he was a hostage and he was suffering. Unfortunately, Prince Harry is the subject of narcissistic abuse by Meghan Markle. And while although Meghan does everything that she can, which means spending all of Prince Harry's money on marketing to make herself look good, unfortunately, Harry is always being given the shaft in unflattering pictures, crappy speeches, and even the worst lighting to make him look like a basket case in the Zoom calls. Now, do I think that she is doing all of this or allowing all of this to happen because she is preparing to have a case against Harry to make him look like he's the crazy one? Absolutely. Absolutely. We know that all that has been going on to make Harry look bad is setting Prince Harry up. So when the time comes for Meghan to take off with the kids, she has all these records showing how he has become mentally unhinged. It's very hard to put your mind around what it must be like in that home, but I guarantee that he's not happy. He can fool himself all he wants by telling people and putting it out in the press. Like people who are confident, who are happy and content don't need to put out news articles to say how happy they are. And if this Netflix documentary, aka reality show, is supposed to be about their love and their love story, then guess what? That's also going to be a facade. We know that this is not what it seems. It's not. There's no doubt in my mind that Harry is trapped living with the devil. He has definitely lost his marbles as a result of having this shadow look over him 24/7. And this is my opinion only. I believe that this woman should be locked away, whether it be in a jail or in an institution, but she should not be in society because she is so evil. And that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back soon. Bye.
I was such a fraud.